We share our borough with a huge range of wildlife, often camouflaged or hiding just out of sight. It might not always be easy to spot the abundance of wildlife that surrounds us. However, once you know how to look and where to look, you'll be astonished at the amazing discoveries you can find. We've asked our resident expert, Dr. Ian Beavis, to tell us about the mini-beasts that inhabit our borough during the winter and early spring months. Peacock butterfly. One of 5 butterflies that hibernate, sleep through the winter, as an adult. Look for it on the first mild, sunny days of spring in sheltered spots, like the edges of woods. A large, brightly coloured butterfly with big, multicoloured eye spots, like a peacock, on all 4 wings. It generally settles with the wings open. Peacock butterflies have the undersides of their wings plain black, so they are well camouflaged when asleep, with the wings folded over their back. If they're disturbed by a bird, they open the wings and flash their eye spots while making a hissing noise. This may startle the bird enough to let the butterfly escape. Daddy longlegged spider. This is one of the common spiders that you can find living in your house at any time of year. Look for them dangling underneath their untidy webs. This spider looks very different from the large, hairy ones that also live in houses. It has a small, greyish body with amazingly long, slender legs. Although it looks very fragile, the daddy longlegged spider is a fierce predator that can kill and eat other spiders, as well as flies and other insects that get tangled in its web. Buff-tailed bumblebee. The only bumblebee that is active through the winter as well as in the spring and summer. Look for it on sunny days in parks and gardens where there are winter or spring flowers, and watch them feeding and gathering nectar and pollen. In wild places like the commons, look for it around gorse bushes or pussy willow catkins. A large black bumblebee with 2 yellow stripes and a whitish or light brown tail. Queens are much bigger than workers and have a more brown coloured tail. Buff-tailed bumblebees are social bees, living as a colony in a nest formed by the queen at or below ground level, in a hole in the ground or at the foot of a wall or tree. Once the queen has reared the first generation of workers, they take over the work of gathering nectar and pollen to feed the young, called larvae or grubs. Large red damselfly. This is the earliest member of the dragonfly to emerge in the spring. Look for it around the edges of lakes and ponds, in parks like Dunollen or Grosvenor and Hilbert Park, or in Tunbridge Wells Common. Damsel is just a name for the smaller members of the dragonfly family, which have very long and slender bodies. The large red damselfly is the only common damselfly that is bright red. It is only large when compared to the rare small red damselfly, which has pink rather than black legs. Large red damselflies feed on small insects which they catch in flight. Their larvae, also known as nymphs, are underwater predators, feeding on various small creatures that share their freshwater habitat. Honeybee. You can find honeybees on sunny days all through the year, including winter, visiting cultivated and wild flowers in parks, gardens, fields and roadsides. In the winter, look for them on flowering bushes in parks like Calverley Grounds and Dunollen. Honeybees are the commonest of all bees. They have a rather slender body and are very variable in colour. Some are very dark with pale stripes, while others have bright orange markings. Most honeybees come from a hive where they are looked after by beekeepers to produce honey. Honey is the food that bees make from the nectar they gather from flowers. They live as a colony with a queen who produces all the young and thousands of workers who gather food for the young. Honeybees sometimes escape from hives and make wild nests in places like hollow trees. Common dronefly. Droneflies can be found in the same place as honeybees, feeding from flowers in parks, gardens, and in the wild, and also sunning themselves on leaves. Like honeybees, they fly all through the year, even in winter. Droneflies are large, dark flies with a short, broad body. They may be all brown or have orange markings. They have a broad black stripe down their face. Droneflies belong to the hoverfly family, which mimic various types of bees and wasps. They look very similar to honeybees, but if you look closely, they are a different shape and have only 2 rather than 4 wings. This helps them avoid being attacked by birds, which tend to avoid creatures that they think might sting them, although droneflies cannot sting. Bluebottle. Bluebottles are very resistant to cold weather and are often the only insects out and about on bright winter days. You can see them almost anywhere, sitting on leaves or on surfaces like tree trunks, fences, and park benches. They also come into houses where they buzz around annoyingly. Bluebottles are medium-sized, broad-bodied flies which at first sight look dark greyish in colour, but if you look more closely, you will see that the body is deep, metallic blue. Bluebottles are scavengers whose larvae, also known as grubs or maggots, feed on the remains of dead animals. They are sometimes called blowflies because fly blow was an old name for the eggs they used to lay on raw meat in kitchens and larders before refrigerators were invented. Juniper shieldbug. Juniper shieldbugs can be found all through the year and are often active in winter. They live on cypress trees in parks and other open spaces. Look for them on the foliage of the pale, yellow-green Lawson cypresses that you find as hedges or individual trees in places like Denalham Park. Shieldbugs generally are broad-bodied insects with coloured wings that fit closely against the body in a cross pattern. Juniper shieldbugs are green with brownish-red markings. Juniper shieldbugs used to be a rare species, living only on wild juniper trees. But in the 1960s, they adapted to feed on related, cultivated trees that were much more numerous. They have since become a common insect in towns. These are just a few of the mini beasts that live locally and can be spotted during the winter and spring months. Once you've started to search for them, you'll find that you'll begin to spot other creatures everywhere you go. So, keep exploring, have fun, and good luck!